Truth, satya, is precision in all forms, or formulations. Mystism, rahasyavadi/adhyamic, deep but hidden meaning. Truth, satya, and attainment of truth. The truth could be attained through sincere thoughts, actions while abiding by righteous character, righteous karmic deeds based on sincere thoughts. In other words, what we get through myriad of experiences, so as to reach to a beyond question and imperative conclusion, i.e. truth. This could be in scientific experiments, mathematical calculations, geographical or historical truth could be proved any time and space. It is fundamentally based on demonstrable truth. It is based on dignity/modesty, maryada, and best practices which are held dear by civilized persons. Such individuals can even make supreme sacrifice for upholding truth. A truthful individual is spiritually oriented in actions and karmic deeds. While truth literally means what is real, exact, an absolute fact, an aspect whose correctness cannot be questioned, with unquestionable precision, etc., when it is a statement of fact the accuracy of which could be tested at any time or space. We should not disapprove anything or anybody on the basis of outer expressions. Outer expressions could be deceptive. We can know the usefulness or otherwise of a thing only after experiencing the truth about a person, or a thing, and just to pass judgment out the perfunctory look will not indicate its worth. For instance, the comparison between bitter gourd and mango. We know that bitter gourd by its nature is bitter in taste whereas the mango is sweet in taste. We should not disregard the nutritive values of both before passing judgment about bitter gourd and show our preference about mango since it is appetizing and sweet in taste. Firstly, bitter gourd. It has high nutritional values, skin cleanser, good for diabetes, liver cleanser, useful for digestive system and heart, helps in weight management besides blood pressure, eye benefits, antioxidant, healing quality, immunity, cancer, etc. You mention it and you have its benefits for us, but it is bitter in taste. On the other hand, the mangoes do have almost the same characteristics, but due to its sweet taste, it is liked. But after knowing the truth about the benefits, everybody would like to take both not because of preference but because of need. Therefore, we should not discord of accept anything before experiencing in person. According to Bible it has justifiably been said, sanctify them in the truth, your word is truth. Guru Nanak Dev Ji has very clearly enunciated, true is the master, true is his name, and true ones who have once have recited his name with the utmost adoration. The wisdom suffusing in truthful words of Prophet Muhammad are the guides to understand truth. No man can attain a firm faith, unless he develop strength of character, and that cannot be achieved unless one acquires the habit of speaking the truth. It has rightly been enunciated God is truth and truth is God. The Satya of God remains above everything else. Satchitananda, one who combines in himself truth, knowledge, and bliss. God is Sat Chit and Ananda. In other words, the God graces us with love which ultimately bestows us ecstasy or bliss. Sat means truth, absolute, which is unchanging and enduring or unending or permanent. Chit is the consciousness, awareness, realization, understanding. Ananda is absolute bliss or ecstasy, a condition or situation of happiness, a joyous existence. Taken together Sat Chitananda, it is an absolute truth with fully awareness, and gives us eternal happiness or ecstasy or heavenly feeling. Truth, Sat, consciousness/awareness/self-realization ecstasy, Jagarakata. It is also termed as the triple. Awareness, a most advanced awareness which only a few of the yogi can attain. It is an absolutely blissful state which is attained through complete connectivity with absolute truth. In other words, it is ultimate reality with eternal or supremely blissful experience of pure awareness. It is a fact that God is truth and eternal truth, is the one which can be realized by a yogi by following a self-realized existence bereft of any attachment to the fruits of any action. A truthful person is fearless. A truthful person fears not from anything and anybody under the sun. He takes pride in performing his assigned job with sincerity and sense of purpose. He hardly adopts any shortcuts in carrying out his duties. It should also be borne in mind that relative truth or untruth depends on the time, space and outward appearance. It is because the duty performed may be good at a particular occasion, but not at other occasion. For example, as per Hindu astrology, there are times which are considered to be auspicious, and the others inauspicious. For example, dawn is considered auspicious whereas dusk could be good or bad too. This is termed as relative truth, in relation to time, space and form. Then there are things which are good for a particular person, but not appropriate for others. There are people who like loud music, but there are others who shut their ears on hearing the loud music. In this time too is a relative truth. Women is personification of truth reflecting Shakti or power of huge proportion. A person who is truthful remains spiritually oriented. When a person is well known for speaking the truth, Satya, for such a person, every occasion good or not so good is equal, and has immense significance. For such a person, there is no disharmony at any situation or condition. Through spiritual practice of highest order and sincere karmic deeds one can establish himself on the highest pedestal where there is no discord in any environ. In this sort of situation, one can understand anything and everything. This stage could also be attained through self-introspection, self-visualization, self-awareness, or self-consciousness. Having attained this juncture, we live a detached mental state. Without action our thoughts remain purposeless. Where there is action, there is motion. Time is the mental dimension of dynamism in action. Where there is no action, there is neither mind nor time. Life without action we become static, which brings in its wake more ignorance and pain too. If you are unconscious, then, you will not be aware of the lapse of the time lost. Action and mind are relative truths and consequently, time is also a relative truth. It is incorrect to say that time is eternity without end and without break or limit. Time cannot exist without space and creations involved in these considerations. Eternal bliss could be attained by following tenets of truth. Human beings derive or try to derive pleasure from objects, big or small, but they cannot get eternal bliss from these objects, which is in fact a relative truth. Therefore, sages devote themselves to the entity free from bondage of time. One has to practice focused meditation, sadhana, to establish oneself in the entity that is free from any bondage of time or any other concerns. Mystic energy, Rahasyavadi Urja, can do wonder. Then contrarily there is Maya or illusion or false impression or misapprehension or personification of that the idea in question is illusory or based on delusion. It has been seen that mystic energy of God can help us drive us out of our predicament, since karma in the form of effort has to be made by us. But our path is covered with effortless ease when we've the faith that the mystic energy, Rahasyavadi Urja, will show us path, thus bestow us energy, Urja, along with self-belief, Shraddha, and determination to surpass any hurdle on the path, Raha. Maya is illusion, Rahasme. Maya, in its worldly jargon, is connected with illusion or delusion, a non-existent mythical experience, which is created due to ignorance or lack of knowledge. This shroud or blanket of Maya could be removed by enlightenment through the medium of transmission of knowledge through self-effort, or through a competent master who has experienced life in variety of situations and conditions. After having acquired the eternal knowledge, the layer of Maya engulfing such evaporates into thin air. Enlightenment of knowledge removes ignorance or myth and brings the dawn of truth. Mystism, Rahasyavadi Urja. Then we have the concept of Maya, which is mystical in nature. Lord Krishna has very rightly related in Bhagavad Gita, my divine energy Maya, consisting of the three modes of nature, is very difficult to overcome. But those who surrender unto me cross over it easily. The mystical or magical power of our Creator is attained through complete surrender to the Absolute Self. It is empirical fact that Maya or mystical power is the supreme energy of Absolute Self. Lord Krishna has attributed it to be his energy, which cannot be triumphed over, since defeating this energy, since it is the super energy. Soul and its connection with God. It is also a truth that our soul being permanent and an ultimate reality, whereas our body is impermanent. Understanding the existence of our soul brings to fore the ultimate truth about Supreme Being. In Upanishad, it has been mentioned that Maya is the energy, Prakriti, whereas the God is the energetic. In Ramayana also the Maya or Mithya is an energy which is engaged in the service of God. Maya and truth. It is a fact that where there is Maya, truth cannot be there. Truth cannot change with the change in space and time, whereas Maya can. If we want to get rid of the maze, we have to seek the help of some guru, or a Sadguru who possesses the wisdom of dissemination of knowledge. Births and deaths are mystical, but based on truth. Death is one of the greatest enigma mysteries. The humanity as a whole is surprised by death's mystical nature despite multifarious evaluation and evolution, including many researches done on this yet shadowy character has not he unraveled. There are several cases wherein a person declared clinical dead came to life after some times, and even lived many years. This is in fact a mystery. It is seemingly invincible, and very scary. Only thing which we should remember is that we should always be ready for death without an iota of fear for this event, as a person who is born will have to meet his or her end, the time of which is not known. In fact, we do not die. We merely change the body and take physical, or astral, or casual. Subsequently, we can realize our divine nature and establish oneness with God, which is termed as all-conscious and bliss. It goes to prove the establishment of close relationship of body with soul. But while in the body, the person concerned has to be an obedient instrument so as to transcend body consciousness. Purpose is to acquire purity in mind and spirit so as to attain liberation from births and deaths ultimately. A sincere seeker always is sincere in thoughts and karma while seeking God. Here the intensity of seeker's love counts much. Mystism and the demise of Lord Krishna. The truth about the demise of Lord Krishna of Dwapar Yoga is laced in mysticism. The story goes like this: the monkey king Bali was killed by Lord Rama, incarnated in Treta Yuga, deceptively, since nobody could kill him in frontal attack, since whosoever fought with him, the opposing fighter, was destined to lose half his strength, and King Bali would gain such a strength. This boon was gained by King Bali after a severe penance to God. When he was killed by the sharp arrow of Lord Rama, before his death, King Bali prophesied that in next incarnation, the same sort of death would happen to him which happened when a hunter's arrow struck Lord Krishna at his foot, which was very delicate. Thus the mystical forecast of King Bali got fructified, proving the relative connection between truth and mysticism, besides proving the truth that karma never forgives anyone, kung, pauper, or even an incarnation of God. Whatever we do, we get the result of it all. Truth and mysticism are relative terms. If God is truth, then it goes to show that God's energy is unlimited, and whatever is limitless comes under the domain of mysticism, or supernatural, or paranatural domain. This higher consciousness could only be realized by rarest of rare. This is the ambit of all comprehending. But one thing which sets these rare personalities apart is the inherent capacities of absorption of anything and everything in their persona, but remain disinterested in all of those. This disinterested could be construed as the total detachment which is worldly. No egocentric tendencies, no reactive tendencies, remaining grounded at all situations and conditions, remaining balanced at all occasions, besides important of all, maintaining total connectivity with the Supreme God, who is both truth and mystic in nature. It is a known fact that the mystic prowess of Supreme Lord is indomitable. The case in point of Lord Hanumanji is shining example of ultimate power, which was not known to him. He was divested of his powers by a curse of a sage who was disturbed by the pranks of Hanumanji while he was only a child. But later on, the sage relented and diluted his curse by a condition that if somebody reminded Hanumanji about his powers would return back. This mystery was exhibited when he was reminded about his powers by wise Jamband. This analogy teaches us about the truth of mystic powers of Lord Hanumanji. Even we can also exploit our innate powers if we have self-assurance along with belief on God. Even the Mother Nature too have some attractions with its negative impacts, if we fail to comprehend it fully. There exists, out of the ordinary urge within termed as animal instinct and urge, kept as hidden secret even the bearer may not accept about the presence of this instinct. This animal ego manifests itself which we all may disregard at first may hide, or let this negative instinct allowed to fester and perpetuate in the form of huge sense of self which, if allowed to go out of control manifests, and takes a gigantic form thus sapping the reserve of positive strength of the person concerned. In our day-to-day dealings with others in our behavior and attitude which not only adversely impacts outer lookout, but also sullies our inner recesses of our heart. When awareness dawns through our sincere self-introspection, then an urge from within us emerges to get rid of this animal instinct. But first of all we've to have sincere acceptance of animal ego existence, and then try earnestly to get rid of this ego instinct by our self-efforts with utter sincerity. An honest effort from our inner self to uproot and erase the last traces of this negative instinct from our system which has taken root, then pure consciousness emerges from within. Then a realization should dawn within that nothing ever happens without experiencing these unique experiences. We should bear in mind we cannot have total transformation from negative animal instinct to a refined and detached one from body, mind and intellect till such time we make honest effort. For this to be reality in real sense of terms, our mind has to be integrated with our being with a reckoning most astute that there exists a permanent soul. It should be understood that for a higher consciousness we've to be fair-minded and far-sighted, always ready to be integrated into all understanding domain, thus transcending animal instinct, thereby transforming ourselves into all-comprehending and all-encompassing love and amalgamate our soul with absolute being. Animal instinct. In essence, it is a fact that there exists an animal instinct in all of us in one form or other. This animal instinct or animal ego tendency accentuates as we placate and grease it still further rather than keeping ourselves free from this negative urge as and when we are under its influence. For example, whenever somebody provokes us, ethically or unethically, we want to pay in the same coin. Contrarily, if we just introspect and keep cool and be patient, the results would be rather positive and constructive one. Getting excited, and in our excitement going off the tangent may bring in misery impacting our composure and wellness. We should always keep in mind that negative urge could be one or mix of anger, greed, bitterness, lust for power, and pelf, etc. All these lower our persona in the eyes of others. All these negative traits in one form or other could spell our downfall. We should try to introspect and see how best to get rid of the animal ego dormant in ourselves. For this, timely action has to be done, otherwise its adverse effects will multiply and may give us sleepless nights. It is because under the influence of the animal ego, we tend to lose control over our mind. Losing control over our mind means losing control over the realities of our life. Losing control over our lives means losing sight of the very purpose of our existence. These realities of lives have to be experienced and lived with.